He'd lost most of what he'd learned for his bar mitzvah, but working in Israel revived it. He was fluent these days, and Barb spoke and understood next to none. He knew she knew he'd changed languages, so she couldn't follow, but he didn't care. He didn't like putting himself on display. Later he had occasion to remember that. Sometimes it made him want to laugh. More often he felt like screaming. Much good either one did him. "So, should I run now while I still can?" Orly asked. "What do you think?" "Your call, babe." That came out in English. Eric returned to Hebrew. "I can't make you stay." "You can make me want to." "Oh, you can worry about everything till you drive me crazy." "Come on. If I didn't worry, I never would have got into this racket." Eric dug out another trowel full of earth. He sifted through it, and earth was what it was, except for a blackened something half the size of his little fingernail. He pounced. "What is it?" For business, Orly came back to English. "Coin," he answered. He took a hand lens from the breast pocket of his shirt to get a better look. It looked like a magnified, blackened something. "Have to clean it up." "A widow's mite?" Barb asked. "That'd be exciting." "It'd be weird," Eric said. This was a Persian level from centuries before the time of Christ. Hasmonean and Herodian coins didn't belong here. Besides, to him, they were dull. You could get them in carload lots. Dealers and shopkeepers sold them at ridiculous markups to people like Barb who wanted a connection to Jesus. Maybe he handled this coin, they'd think. Maybe it belonged to a money changer he chased from the temple. Maybe, but you'd never prove it. Even if you did, so what? Coins from Persian-ruled Judea were more interesting, to Eric anyway. The local issues imitated Athenian money down to the owl on the reverse. Would the Jews have done that if they knew Pallas Athena was a goddess and the owl her symbol? Not likely. But they didn't. They just knew the originals were good silver, so they made knockoffs. Only the inscription on the reverse, YHD, in Aramaic or Hebrew letters, admitted where the coin came from. Sometimes it would be YHDH. The difference helped show when the coin was struck. He put the close-up lens on his iPhone to immortalize it in digits. "Anything good?" Munir al-Nuwahi asked around one of his endless stream of Marlboros. The Israeli-Arab archaeologist's English held only a light accent. He smoked like a steel mill. At that academic conference in Los Angeles, he ducked outside after every panel to grab a coffin nail before the next one started. Rules were looser here. Rules about smoking were anyhow. Munir was a highly capable man, but had only an interim appointment at the Israeli equivalent of a junior college in Nitzana, a small desert town right on the Egyptian border. He was probably lucky to have that. Like blacks in the USA, Arabs in Israel had to be twice as good to get half as far. "Little coin," Eric said. "Persian period." "I still think it's a widow's mite," Barb said. "Plenty of signs of the last days lately." Munir puffed on a cigarette. He was Muslim, but secular. He'd done his share of drinking and maybe a little more at that conference in California. He didn't tell Barb she was nuts, even if he thought so. Eric held his tongue, too. Whatever he might have said wasn't worth a squabble. You couldn't convince people like Barb. They had their faith, period. Where faith didn't impinge, lots of them, Barb included, were surprisingly nice. Ori snorted. Israelis wasted less time on politeness than Americans, or, Eric often thought, anyone else. And she wasn't used to, or was less resigned to, literal-minded Protestants than Eric. "Like what?" she said, plainly not expecting an answer. But Barb had one. "Like the red heifer. I saw in the Chronicle how they're looking for it." "Oy," Eric muttered. The Jerusalem Chronicle was the city's biggest English-language paper. Its politics lay well to the right. Compared to the people who sought the red heifer, though, the Chronicle fell somewhere between Nancy Pelosi and Leon Trotsky. "There won't be any third temple," Orly pointed at the Dome of the Rock. "That's been there longer than the first and second temples put together. It isn't going anywhere, no matter what some zealots say." Eric wished she hadn't used that word. Zealots was what Josephus called the Jews who touched off the rebellion against Rome that led to the destruction of the Second Temple. Maybe Barb didn't know about Josephus.